Some people ask me, don't you just get so bored running a harvester? And sure, there are days where I get bored, but check that out. See that river? Just gorgeous. I'm about 100 feet above that river there. And it gets me thinking about last week. A week ago today, I was heading over east to Peshtigo and Marinette to go walleye fishing. And it's springtime obviously here, and the walleye are coming in for the spawn. So we headed over there, and I'd never been there before to do that. So I went with some buddies, and we stopped at Peshtigo first at I think it's the Peshtigo River there, and I was just shocked. Now I knew there was going to be a lot of walleye, but I was not prepared to see as many as I did. They were just in that fish refuge area up by the dam, just by the thousands, just stacked as far as you could see, both upstream and downstream. And we actually saw 2 albino walleyes in there too. I'd never seen that before. It's pretty cool to see 2 albino walleyes in there. They have a little walkway there you can go out on above the river there. It's maybe 15 feet, 20 feet above the water. So it's kind of like a little pier that you can just kind of overlook everything there. It's incredible. And if you're a fisherman, that gets the juices going like nothing. It's like, oh man, I gotta get out of here and I gotta get that fishing pole, and I've got to get down there and land a few of those babies. So we looked at it for a little bit, and yeah, we went and got our waders, got our poles, and we fished a little bit there and did land a few. And so then we went from there right into Marinette. Our hotel was, you know, right on the water, basically right across the street from the hotel was the river. And the same thing there, completely different river, different source of water. This was coming directly, that water is flowing directly into Lake Michigan. So these walleyes are all coming out of Lake Michigan, and they're just stacked in there by the thousands as well. And you know, you're not supposed to snag fish, but that is what I call legal snagging, because you throw your bait out there and you're retrieving it, and they're so thick in there, you're not trying to snag them, but there's just so many fish in there, you're just gonna hook one as you're retrieving. It's gonna hook in the dorsal fin, it could hook in the tail, sometimes you're hooking them right at the mouth. It don't matter, I mean, just kind of wherever that hook drags over them, you're gonna hook into them. And you just catch them one after the other after the other. Now we did catch quite a few that were actually legit biting the hook and inhaling it, but the number of snagged ones far outweighs the amount that you, in quotes, legally catch. And we never night fished because we were so wore out. By the time we got to the hotel, we're just like, nah, screw that. We're just gonna sit in the hot tub. Saturday night. We got there Friday. Saturday night, we were like, we're gonna go sit in the hot tub for, you know, 15, 20 minutes. And then we're gonna go out and do some night fishing for a couple hours, and then come in and then go back out at 4 o'clock. We got in that hot tub, and it was an hour and a half later. Like, screw that, we're wore out, we'll just get up at 4 o'clock and go fishing. So that's what we did. We got up at 4 o'clock and went fishing. Now we're using stick baits, and let's see, what was the other thing? I'm horrible at bait names. Jerk baits, that's what I was trying to think of. I don't know bait names. I have 2 names for bait. And the names that I use is, this one works and that one doesn't. So if someone says, hey, what you're using? I say, I don't know. I'm using one that works. And that one over there, that's the one that doesn't work. So that's the names of the baits that I use. But they were jerk baits and stick baits, and that's how pretty much covers everything we were using. But you know, we did catch legal ones too. Don't kid you yourself that we did catch legal ones, but the majority were snagged. But I did land my personal best, which was a legal 30-inch female. That was incredible. It was just a little shallow pool in behind me, and I thought, wow, what the heck, I'll just throw into there and see what I pull up. And sure enough, the line started going, and I started fighting, and in came a 30-inch walleye. And I didn't think it looked that big because it was so fat, and I yelled over there. I didn't yell because there was a guy standing beside me. I just say, Brett. He's like, what? I said, check this out. And he kind of shook his head. He said, I think he said, you suck, or something like that. And I was like, I should measure this thing. He said, yeah, you should. So he came over there and we measured it, and it was 30 inches. And I should have measured the girth, but I didn't. And it was just huge. But it was just a lot of fun, and it is such a phenomenon to see these thousands and thousands of walleye just stacked in the river. And you should just go see it sometime. Even if you don't fish, it's worth just going and just seeing how many walleye it's there. It's really truly mind-blowing. You really should just go see it. But it was just truly an experience that I'll never forget, and I plan to do again. And we didn't keep track of how many fish we were catching on Friday and Saturday, but Sunday, actually, let me back up. So people at home were asking me, so how many fish are you landing? I said, I have no clue, no idea. I said, there's just more than I can count. So I decided to keep track Sunday morning. We fished just a couple hours Sunday morning. So I decided to keep track Sunday morning, and this tree just got stuck in a wedge down there. So I gotta see if I can get this tree out of this wedge down there. There, we got it. Anyway, oh, maybe. There we go. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, how many fish we're catching. We fished a couple hours Sunday morning, and I stopped at 48. I was like, yeah, that's enough. Because you do start feeling bad for the fish after a while. It's like, you know what? They're not hungry. They're just out doing their thing. And along comes a bait. Some floaty thing comes out there and jerks them away from what they're doing. And I guess, well, you know what? Maybe that's why they call it a jerk bait. Because it's just floating along, enjoying life, and something jerks them out of what they're doing. So maybe that's why it's called a jerk bait. I have no idea. So anyway, enjoy your day. Thanks for listening to this walleye story, and it's probably worth exactly what you paid for it, but I told you anyway. And you know what I'm thinking every day here, just thinking about fishing, you know. Keeps me going. You gotta have a hobby.